Kia ora students, here is the next instalment for how to write an essay. This tutorial is about how to plan your essay. I know this is something that a lot of you really struggle with, so I'm going to actually do quite a few different tutorials for this. The first question I'm going to look at is that character question about making a character memorable. Okay, so this is the slide from the last tutorial where we had the question on one side, describe a memorable character, and then on the other side I had rewritten the question in my own words, more as a statement. Andy is a memorable character in the $6.50 Man because he has such a short temper. The director uses facial expressions, dialogue and body language to show how angry Andy gets. So this is the next stage where I actually take that and plan my essay. It's really important to make sure that you have a clear understanding of what the question is asking of you before you do that. So if you're not sure what that question is actually going on about, you need to go back and re-watch that previous tutorial. Okay, quite a busy slide here, but let's just go from top to bottom slowly. Okay, we've got the question written out there. Always write the question. You know, if you don't have it at the top of your page, or you have to keep flicking back and forth, there's my phone, we'll hang up on that. If you have to keep flicking back and forth, you want to write the question up there so you've actually got it there to remind you. And then I've got that statement rewritten here. So we've got question here, obviously, and then statement here, reworded in our own words. Nice and simply. This isn't the language we're going to use for our essay. This is just straightforward, simple language for you to understand clearly. Okay, so here, down here, we have the actual plan. Now obviously you're not going to write like a whole table during your exam. This was just a nice clear way for me to do it. Some students like to do it as a list, like point 1, point 2, point 3, but I have also seen students do it like this, with the question in the middle, like, you know, like memorable character, and then 3 things coming off of that. Okay, so it really just comes down to what's easiest for you. I like to do it as a list. I find that more logical. Okay, so I've got, we've got the paragraph number 1, 2, 3. This should all be pretty obvious, so feel free to fast forward. And then points down here and examples over here. That's as much detail as you should need for your actual plan. You don't need to go into how you're actually going to write your explanation and your link, because that is your actual essay, obviously. So there's no point in writing your essay twice. Your plan should take you no more than 5 minutes to do, and the best way to revise for an exam is to make plans. Okay, so they're really, really important. A marker is always going to look for plans. Right, so we're going to have a look at what I've done here for this plan. Okay, so remember we're talking about Andy being a memorable character. Okay, so my first point is facial expressions show how angry Andy gets. Okay, so this is a simplistic essay, right? We're only talking up to year 11, so each point is basically going to be Andy gets angry. So then you need to work out what exactly is the technique that shows that. So facial expressions show how angry Andy gets. And then I said Andy looks demonic when the boys mock his drawing. So that's the first time that they bully him. They pick up the drawing and they start mocking it, and his face looks so angry. When I write the actual essay, I would have to describe this in more detail. So, you know, like Andy's brow is furrowed and he bares his teeth almost like a dog. You couldn't just say he looks demonic. So you have to go into more detail in the actual essay, but that's sufficient for your plan. Okay, second paragraph is going to be about tone of voice, and that shows how angry he is when he yells, "Give it." Again, you can't just put tone of voice, yells, give it. You need more detail. He yells, "Give it," at the top of his lungs, making his voice sort of scream in anger. You have to go into that detail in the essay. Okay, and finally, body language. And that's in the middle of the film when Andy swings his bag. So the boys have come chasing after him, unfortunately at instruction of the teacher, and he swings his satchel at them. So obviously this essay plan paints Andy not in a very nice light, but it's not his fault. He is getting bullied. So the important thing to realize is that at the end of this, you would probably mention the turning point, which we talked about in the previous tutorial, the fact that we find out he can't read. And that's what I'm actually going to talk about in the next essay plan. So if I were writing this essay, by the time I got to the third paragraph, or to the conclusion, whichever works best, I would be saying, of course, we come to realise that Andy is being bullied even though he can't read, and that his teacher is obviously a horrible person, and the fact that he gets so angry isn't really his fault. He's a young child who can't read, who's getting bullied by his peers and his teacher, and his anger is actually justified. So you have to still think for yourself what the overall flow of your essay is going to be. You can't just blindly leap in. You can't just take my essay plan and use that, obviously. Okay, so you have to know where you're headed. Okay, so straight after this, there's going to be a second tutorial, and that is for the turning point essay. So if you're still confused about how to actually plan your essay, then that's the one that you want to watch next.